So for study goal number 19, I want to discuss how petroleum and natural gas are made. These are deposits where you have mostly petroleum or mostly gas. Remember that they're always going to be mixed together. But the thing conceptually that's important to remember is that gas and liquids can move through rock layers. So in order for those to be trapped underground, there has to be like a really specific sandwich of rock types. It's like really special ingredients. And there's names for these that you'll need to know. I want to describe that sandwich of rocks. You can see in this shared screen that there's a cap rock, there's the reserve of material, there's a reservoir rock, and a source rock. And I'll get to that. If we start at the bottom, source rock is the stuff that had the organic material. So, if you will, the sludge at the bottom of the harbor would become source rock. So it's some kind of dirt with a bunch of organic material. And remember, as you're adding heat and pressure, that organic material will start to react and bond and make hydrocarbons. Source rock. And in order to end up with petroleum and natural gas, you have to have a layer of stuff above that that was kind of coarse and porous. So as you're squeezing rock, the organics kind of squish through, like if you're like holding Play-Doh and you start to squeeze it, it'll come shooting between your fingers. The fingers in that case would be called reservoir rock. And then these would just seep out to the environment, La Brea tar pit style. These would just seep out to the environment unless you get some fine-grained sedimentary rock that's fine enough to put a lid on all that. That's called the cap rock. Cap on top, reservoir, that's the porous stuff in the middle, and the source material, source rock at the bottom. That's the sandwich. And I'll show you an image that gives you a time sequence next. You can see here that there's like organic stuff settling on the bottom. You start to build the sandwich, and over time, as you add heat and pressure, all of the juicy gaseous ingredients migrate through the rock until they're locked in underneath a cap. That number 4 image on your screen, that's like good to remember. That'll conceptually help you later on in this class. You have to know those 3 different types of rock, because we're going to go back and get that material. I want to talk about how we remove petroleum and natural gas. You can see in, I just noticed that my 2 videos blended together. That's a bummer. You can see in this shared screen that the point of extraction is to target that piece of the sandwich where hopefully you have a lot of petroleum and natural gas. And I need you to understand that it's not like you buried a bottle of stuff. It's not like you break through the top and then there's like a contiguous body, kind of like it looks there. That's not accurate. It's not like you've buried a contiguous body of oil and gas. Instead, it's a layer of rocks that has a whole bunch of this stuff in between the rocks. I always use a metaphor. Imagine a 5-gallon bucket of gravel where there's peanut butter between the gravel. That is the reservoir rock. That's where the stuff is. It's like a layer that's kind of porous of rock with like fossil fuels working their way through them. And because I noticed that my two videos have blended together, I need to do something differently. So I'm going to pause here for a minute and make sure that I create a break in my recording so that we have a chance to talk during class.